are going to do numbers 24, hopefully 25 and 26. So let's do number 24 first. Tell you what, I'll pause this while I draw the thing out. No need to watch me draw the thing out. Okay. All right, here it's all drawn out for you. Let's mark the stuff first. That's the fun part, isn't it? So yx is equal to, or congruent to, it doesn't matter what you say, wz. So this one and this one. Up here. Then these are parallel. Yx, oh, it's the same thing, right? Yx and zw, they're parallel to each other as well. So that is parallel to that. With me? All right. That's all they tell you. And you have to prove that these two triangles right here are congruent to each other. Excuse me. We have two ways to prove triangles congruent. What are they? We don't say, right, we say side, side, side. We write SSS, okay? So side, 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 and what? Side, angle, side. So we have those two to choose from, okay? What do we have so far? So far, what do we have marked as far as what's equal to each other? Just one side. No, what are equal to each other, right? We just have one side that's marked equal. Would you agree? Now, what we have to do is we got to figure out, can we get two other sides equal? Or could we get the angle, the included angle? Remember that phrase, the included angle? Yeah. Can we get that equal from one triangle to the other? So let's go through and see what we can do. Forget the parallel for right now. Look at something else. Can you tell one of the sides? Can you tell any other sides are equal to each other on this triangle and this triangle right here? YZ and XW. You can say that this is equal to this? Why?
Or you can say that YZ is equal to XY.
YZ and XY?
Maybe not. Never mind.
No, there's nothing here that tells you. Can you say that, it's a good point right here, can you say that YZ and XW are equal to each other? Nah. You have to say for sure, and you have to back it up. Can you say for sure, and can you back up with a good reason why this side and this side are equal to each other? You can? You don't know any angles yet. You don't know they're parallel. You don't know that, and that's parallel. They are? You don't know they're going in the same direction. How do you know? How do you know that's not tilted just a little bit, like 1 degree? It doesn't matter how you know. You have to know. You're right. You cannot say it. All right? You have no information that says that XW and YZ are either parallel or equal to each other. You can't back it up, can you? All right? And you have to back up all your stuff. What other side? Well, that's one side. We already know that this side and this side, you can't say right now that they're equal to each other. Is there another side to these two triangles?
Yeah, the line through.
This exit. I'm not talking angles. I'm talking sides. Stick with me, okay? I'm trying to get you to progress to where we're going to get somewhere. So look, XZ. Is that in this triangle? Is XZ part of this triangle here?
Yes, it is part of it.
Sure, it's part of it. Yeah, it's got 3 sides. That's one of the sides of this triangle. Okay, good. Right, exactly right. It's also part of this triangle right here, isn't it? So tell me something. XZ on this triangle is also equal to XZ on this triangle. Wouldn't you agree with that? Yeah. All right, because it's the same side, right? So watch what I do. Didn't I do this on an example problem? Katie, did I do this? I didn't do this on an example problem? I should have. I thought for sure I did. So look at this. Would you agree that XZ on this triangle is equal to XZ on this triangle? Yeah, it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that it's equal, all right? So there's one side, there's a second side. Does that make sense? There's a reason for that. The reason for that is something that's called reflexive property. Remember I said in chapter 2 we skipped a few things? Okay, I think they might have mentioned reflexive property in chapter 2. What does reflexive property say? Well, what is that word reflexive? What is that? A reflection, good. Okay, I see reflection in that word reflexive, don't you? When you see a reflection, you see the same thing, don't you? So the reflexive property basically says this, doesn't basically, it says exactly this, that A equals A, all right? Sounds weird. Of course something equals itself. I mean, what else is it going to equal? It can equal itself, but we have a property that says that that's true. So look at this. Can I say that XZ is equal to XZ? Yeah, and what's my reason? Remember, I got to back up everything with reason because of the reflexive property. Exactly right, okay? I'm going to get rid of this, but we're going to come back to that in a little bit, okay? So now what do I have so far? I have one side equal to one side, and I've got a second side equal to a second side, okay? So far I have side, side. I don't have side, side, side though, do I? Because I can't say that this side is equal to this side. I have no I have no reason to say that they're equal to each other. But there might be something else. Where does this parallel stuff come into play? Well, if these two lines are parallel, Sam Joe, you said it earlier. You said this was a what between these two parallel lines?
Transversal.
Transversal. It's a transversal between these two parallel lines, right? So what does that tell you? If you have two lines cut by a transversal, tell me some, well, you know they're parallel already because it's given, but tell me something about this angle right here, YXZ. That's right, it's equal to this angle down here, and you said it. And what's the reason? Because they're alternate interior angles. Does that make sense? Now, let's sit back and look at it and see if we have enough information to say that these two triangles are congruent. We do. What's the reason? Very good. You got a side, and you got a side here, right? You got to have a side on one, a side on the other that are equal. You've got an angle, right? An included angle, very good. And then you have your second side. You have a side, you have an angle, and you have a side.
I get it now.
You get it?
I get it because you have to find the sides and the angles and like prove that they're congruent.
Exactly right.
Because they don't always give you the
That's right. You can't use this stuff. You can't say, well, it looks like that's equal to that. It looks like that's parallel to that. You can't say that, can you? You can only go by the information that they give you or the information they give you, and then you can figure some stuff out, right? They didn't tell you that this angle here was equal to this angle here, did they? That wasn't given. We figured that out on our own because they did tell us that these two sides are parallel. You can't make any assumptions about that, okay? They tell you they're parallel, so now we can say that alternate interior angles are equal. So there's my side, my angle, and my side. So now let's set up our little two-column proof thing, and then we'll write all the stuff out. Now notice what I did. Notice the order that I've done. I wrote everything out. I wrote the given, wrote the proof, wrote the picture. This is what I want you to do on your homework problems, okay? I want you to write the picture. I want you to write the given. I want you to write the proof before you do anything else. What's that?
We have to.
Abs- Right. Well, I'm just reminding you because a lot of people don't. Okay, they just start with the two columns. I want you to write all that stuff in there. Now you can do your two columns. Now, what's on the left side of my two columns? This would be my statements. And then on the right side of my column would be the reasons. All right, so what we're going to do is I like to go in order. If I'm going to go side, angle, side, I like to start with one of my sides, then I got to do my angle, then I got to do the other side. All right, so what's the easiest side that you can figure out?
The ones that are parallel.
Well, the ones that are parallel, yeah, the ones that are given, okay, the ones that are given, right. So I'm going to say that xy is equal to wz. And right, you could say congruent or equal. Okay, yeah, it's the same thing. So what are you going to say? xy, we'll say congruent, okay, is congruent to wz. And why is that true?
It's given.
It's given, that's right. So that's what we say. Even if it's given, we have to use that as one of our reasons, all right? That's always pretty easy. Now, don't necessarily think that you always have to put all the given first. Sometimes you do. A lot of times you do, to tell you the truth. But sometimes you want to, you just want to go in the order, all right? You want to go side, then the angle, then the side, okay? And this is another thing that I did. Oh my, what's all that? So what did I just show right there? I just showed what? One of my sides. Now you don't have to do this. I did this in the video, didn't I? Okay. You don't have to do this, but I think it's kind of nice because it kind of gives you an idea of what you found and what you still have to find. Okay? What's the next thing? We want to do the angle, right? Can I just go straight and say that this angle is equal to this angle?
No.
No, I have to say something beforehand. What allowed us to say that this angle and this angle are equal? That the parallel lines, right? So I have to say that those lines are parallel first before I say that this angle and this angle are equal. Does that make sense? That's a part that gets a little, confusing sometimes for some people. I got to say that they're parallel, then I can say that these two lines are equal. So let's do the parallel thing. So I can say that XY, line segment XY, is parallel to line segment WZ, right? And that's also given, isn't it? Now, right after that, since they're parallel to each other, what can I conclude from the fact that they're parallel to each other? That the two angles are equal, right? So let's name them. I can't just say angle X, can I? Because there's two angles coming, actually there's three angles coming out of angle X, right? So how do I have to name that? Angle what? YXZ. YXZ. I have to call it that. I could have gone backwards. I could have gone ZXY, but that wouldn't make any difference. But X has to be in the middle. And that's congruent to angle what? This angle right here, XZW. Okay? And what did I just find right there? I found the angle, didn't I? All right? And what's my reason for that? Why are these two angles equal to each other? Alternate interior, because you got parallel lines, and if you have parallel lines, the alternate interior angles are equal. So I don't have to write all that stuff. If two lines are parallel, then the alternate interior angles are equal. I just write it like this. I just say alternate interior angles are equal. Okay? That's all you have to do for that. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, now I've got a side, got an angle. What's the third thing I need to find? The other side. And what's the other side? XZ. So what do I say? XZ equals what? XZ. And it seems kind of weird to say something equals itself, but you're basically saying XZ from this triangle equals XZ from the other triangle. Okay? And what's my reason for that? Good. And that's called the reflexive property. All right?
Would you write XZ as a transversal that comes in parallel lines?
You don't need to say that at all. Nope.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we do what it asked us to prove already when we said alternate interior angles are equal?
No, you have to prove the triangles are congruent. So you have to say side angle side. Just because these two angles are equal doesn't mean these two triangles are congruent.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Okay.
So now look, see what I did in red? And that's why I like to do that, is because look what I have. I got a side, I've got an angle, and I've got a side. So what does that say about these two triangles right here? They're congruent to each other. So let's write them out. Oops, let's do this in blue, stay consistent here. So it's going to be triangle, and they called it YXZ. Now watch, it's very important that you put it in the right order. If I go YXZ, I went Y, then X, then Z. So what's this one going to be down here? Which one matches up with the Y? The W. And how do you know that? Because look, the Y is across from this side with two arcs. What angle over here is across from the side with two arcs? The W. So that's how I know that the Y and the W go together. Okay? So it's going to be W, and then what am I going to call it? Well, it went WX, watch, this one went YXZ. So it went from this one to this one. Which one was marked in the other triangle? The Z part, right? So it's going to be WZX. Now they said it was up here, but it matches up, doesn't it? The Y and the W are equal to each other, would you agree? Okay, this X angle up here and the Z angle are equal to each other. And then the third angles are going to be equal to each other as well. This X angle and this Z angle right here. Okay? Now, why are those two triangles congruent to each other? What's in red? Side angle side. That's right. So I just write side angle side. You just write SAS, but you say side angle side. And that's it. You're done. You've proved it. You proved that those two triangles are, in fact, exactly the same. Okay? So if I took one, stacked it on top of the other, they'd be exactly the same. All right? Now, we went a little slow on that. Let's go a little faster on this next one. All right, let's take a look at this. Look at the given. The given is a little bit different. They actually give you that two triangles are congruent to each other. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Let's see those two triangles. EAB. Let's see, EAB. That would be this triangle right here. Let's, how are we going to do this? Let's shade it. Is that all right? See this triangle right here? That's congruent to triangle DCB. And that would be this triangle right here. So let's shade that in. Now, that's a lot of stuff. If they tell you that two triangles are congruent to each other, they're telling you a ton of stuff. So they're telling you, basically, let's do this in red. They're telling you what? They're telling you all the sides are equal to each other, right? These two, yeah. Yeah, so you can watch it tonight if. All right? So look, they're telling you all this stuff right here. They're also telling you, look, that these angles are equal right here. These two are equal to these two. You may not use all this information, but at least you know it's all true. You with me on that? Now, what are they asking you to do? They're asking you to prove that EAD, tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to, when they overlap like this, sometimes it's a good idea to maybe just redraw it without all the overlapping parts to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So watch. I'm just going to copy and paste and just flip this like this, and it should look the same. Sometimes it's nice to do it this way. So EAB, I don't think we'll have time to finish this up. I'm sorry, EAD
If I could ask you to please,
is right there. And then
Mr.
DCE, DC. Tell you what, we're going to continue this tomorrow. I'm going to make a change in the lesson plans. I'm not going to have you watch 4 or 5 tonight, okay? What I want you to do, wait till this is done.
Also, if the following students could come.
Okay, let's look at this. What I want you to do, I won't have you watch the video tonight, the new lesson. What I want you to do is work on the other proofs that you might have been a little confused about before we went over today. And then I want you to try to work on this a little bit. See what I've done? See, now, once you have all this stuff, now you can mark some stuff that's true about these two triangles, can't you? See, this angle right there, or this side, so you know this side is equal to this side. And there's some other things that you know as well. All right? Work on it. I may do this in the other class, okay? I might start with this video in the other class, but we'll go over it tomorrow, though. Okay, we'll go over it tomorrow. So you're finishing the stuff that you're supposed to turn in today, right? Because now you have a better understanding of how to do this stuff. Now, if you got it right, don't do it again. But if you had no clue, then, yeah, definitely try it again, okay?